Hi, welcome to Mission Driven Monday. My name is Chantel Adams, and I'm here with Pamela Barba. Pamela and I met actually just this year. She was working on a project called Vamos Ladies, and she works with Latino women, and basically you help them make more money. But we were talking earlier, and you had sent me this like teeny tiny little bio, which was so humble, honestly, because I went poking around on your website and I was like, oh my gosh, this woman does everything from digital web design to marketing. She helps people build their businesses, their brands. She does one-on-one consulting, group consulting, really just everything. She is a dynamo businesswoman. And I'm excited to talk to you today because I feel so inspired by you. I actually get to meet with Pamela every month as part of an entrepreneur group that I'm a part of. And she just always asks such insightful questions and has such good feedback for everyone. And so today I get to ask her the questions.
I appreciate that. That was an awesome intro. And I'm glad you think I'm insightful because I feel like I just
Well, that is not true. I mean, I feel like I'm always like taking notes frantically, writing down everything you're saying. So every week I interview a woman that I admire for Mission Driven Woman, and I think that you truly are a mission driven woman. So I'm going to start out today asking you the first question that I always ask everyone, and I don't know how you're going to choose because when I look at your website and I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, you come from a family of entrepreneurs, you have, built businesses, you help women build businesses, but when you look back over all the things that you've done, tell me, what are you the most proud of?
Yeah, I was thinking about this question today and it's really interesting. So I just turned 30 like 3 weeks ago. And I am the most proud of like the person that I've becoming, really. I don't know if that's cheesy to say, but I quit my job about 2 years ago, and kind of because I had done everything that I thought I was supposed to do and got to a dead end. Like I got to a point where I was making money, but I was like really unhappy, and have been on this like 2 year self-discovery kind of journey. And I feel like now I am just now kind of seeing like the fruits of that, where I'm like, wow, like I say what I think and I'm honest and I know my mission. And when people ask me to be a part of something that doesn't align with that, I don't do it. And I have boundaries, and I don't spread I still spread myself too thin, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
So I think my proudest accomplishment has been like that, like allowing myself to like kind of restart and figure all this stuff again. As a mid-adult, I guess.
Hardly. Well, I think it's funny that you said that because I feel like everything you just said is something that I hear 40-year-olds say, not 30-year-olds. I feel like a lot of 30-year-olds, although it is a new season, finally I think people begin to take you seriously when you're 30, like you have some life experience. You're not like just a kid in your 20s, just getting out of college or whatever. Like once you're 30, people really do take that seriously. But I feel like people in their 30s are really still trying to figure out so many things, because that is the time when you're typically like building a family and building a business and saying yes to everything. And it sounds like you've already figured out like, no, these are the things I can say yes to, and this is what I'm going to say no to.
Yeah. Well, and that's because I got burnt out really early in life. Like I feel like I had all these great opportunities, and then I was like, oh, this looked great from the outside, but it's kind of terrible now that I'm in it. So I think being able to walk away from things is one of the things that I really value about myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is just amazing that you have learned that at such a young age. I hope all the young ones who are out there listening to this will take that advice to heart. All right, so let's just jump into the question number 2 then. You're 30, you just turned 30. Was that a big birthday for you? Like, were you dreading it or looking forward to it?
I was really excited, honestly, because I feel like it was like the end of an era, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like nobody tells you this, but your 20s are kind of awful. You're
Yeah.
like trying to figure out who you are. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you care about. Like you don't like it's so confusing. I feel like it's like people can look back at teenagers and be like, okay, you're fine. It's just a little bit confusing right now.
Yeah.
feel like it's the same way for your 20s. It's like, you're okay. You're just as confused, except maybe you have more responsibility and money. So it was like a really nice kind of like ending to that time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I, through doing my work for Vamos Ladies, where I do focus on working with Latino women, I have regained a lot of parts of my identity back. So it's like before I felt like I was kind of a shadow version of myself. And now I'm like, no, I'm like fully me. So it was really exciting to celebrate my first birthday like that.
Yeah.
Because I, like growing up, I would celebrate my birthday the way that a lot of people like in this country celebrate, which is like when you're in your 20s, you like hang out with your friends and you like go party. And I've just never been really into that. So for this birthday, I was like, I don't care. Like I come from a culture where like family is huge. And I just wanted to have a really big birthday party where everybody brought their family and their kids. And it was more like something that felt aligned with me and my culture. It more like something that would happen in Ecuador. For the first time, I like allowed myself to be like, I don't care what you're supposed to do. This is what I want to do. And so it was really, really great.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I was just having this conversation with someone, I don't know, maybe even yesterday about your 20s. And I was like, I feel like that was the hardest decade because everybody was in such a different stage. There's people that are still in college, and there's also people who are just getting married, and there are people that are having babies, and there are people who are starting businesses. And so it's really hard to find your people, I feel like, in your 20s because everyone was in a different stage. Whereas in your 30s, I feel like it kind of settles in. And even if you didn't do things the traditional way, I think that everyone's just more accommodating and easy to be with.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So tell me then, what are you learning right now in this season?
Oof. That's great. So I mean, the same things that I'm like proud of for doing, I feel like I'm still very much learning. I think the biggest thing that I'm learning is, so Enneagram, I'm a 2, I'm a giver, I'm a helper. And what I'm learning is, when am I giving because it's something that I like, because it's something that I feel like I have to do. And when am I doing it because it's something that needs to be done? And like, what's the difference? So I'm actually learning how to take care of myself. Like I'm learning how to be like, no, actually to Pamela, it feels really good to not go to this thing, or it feels really good to her to go to this gym class, or whatever it is. Whereas like before, that was like the last person on my list. I had the like, what would this person think, and how would they feel, and like how would this look, and like blah, blah. But it's actually really hard because I don't know how to take care of myself in a way that feels good to me. I've never done it. Even like staying home, like what do I do? Like, do I read a book? Like, it's like all of those things I'm learning.
Yeah, I think that's good. Well, and you started with your birthday party. Like you did that for you, and that was good.
Yeah.
That's so good. All right. So when you think about your aspirational self, the future you, and what you want for your future and what that kind of looks like, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
So I think that generationally, my generation has a lot more flexibility of like who we want to be and the things that we care about. And like millennials get a lot of bad talk because they're like, oh, they're spoiled. And it's like, no, I think we're purpose driven and we know it, and we don't really want to deal with things that other generations wanted to put up with. Right. I see my role in the world as one that helps break barriers so that generations after me have an even easier time doing the things that they need to do to make the world better. So I think my generation is still kind of like this middle generation. And I think that's our job. Our job is to like experience things and break barriers so that they don't have to deal with it at all. And they can just like go straight to the things that actually matter.
Yeah. Well, and you're doing that in a couple of different ways. I mean, not only with the generation that you're in, this millennial generation, but also in your work with Latino women. When you were a kid, and I know you talked a little bit about this, like being able to accept your identity more now. as a child, did you feel more American, or did you feel more, where'd you say you're from? Ecuador?
Mm-hmm.
Ecuadorian? And how, like, when did you start kind of saying, you know what, I'm going to live out of this culture that really is mine? When did you start to do that?
I mean, the tough thing, I think, for people like myself is that you don't really fit in anywhere. Like, I never felt like just an American, or I never felt like like, you know, when I speak here, I speak with a little bit of an accent. There's words that I definitely mess up when I pronounce them. There's ways that it's clear that, like, English is not my first language. When I speak in Spanish, they tell me I speak funny. So it's like, it's this, like, you don't belong in either place. Like,
Yeah.
and so I think what starts happening is I started, and I see this with other women too, I start realizing that the place that I belong is in this place of not belonging. So it's like, you don't belong there or here. Okay, cool, neither do I. And, like, come be with me. It's like a group of misfits almost. And so I think for me, it has become a lot about embracing the, like, cool, we don't fit. All right,
Yeah.
what's next?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, because I know, I mean, every single one of us, like, regardless of where we're from, I think has felt that in some sense. And so we can all relate on some level to that experience of being like, I don't really know where I fit, because every single one of us is made up of so many different parts. Like, you talked about being an Enneagram 2, but then you're an Enneagram 2, but then, you know, what's your Myers-Briggs, and what's your right path, and what are all of these things that make up Pamela Barba? You know, that person is different than any other person in the world.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being with me today. I enjoyed our conversation, and I will post a link to her website. And definitely, if you guys need any help with anything digital, marketing, business-wise, she is your girl. And also, Pamela, if there's any other links to, like, any other resources that you think that I should include, please let me know. And when I post this blog post and I post this video, I will make sure that it gets there. So thank you for being with me today on Mission Driven Monday, and join me next week for another episode. Thanks.